Hello, everybody! It's been a while! A whole week since we last saw you all in the chat. Hello, hello! For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. Welcome to Graham Crackers. This is our little space on the internet where we are dedicated to playing MMORPGs, TTRPGs, and RPGs with friends, because it's all about making memories with the people you love to remember forever. And what better way to do it than on the internet when you never have to leave your house? At least that's what I think. But, once again tonight we are resuming our D&D 5e homebrew campaign. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers, and tonight I'm playing Captain Kellum Brightstar, your elven wizard. But less about me, more about everyone else. So I'd love to know three things from everyone here. One, who are you? Two, who are you playing? And three, we always ask a question. But I think what I want to know more importantly than anything is what is everyone's favorite thing about this world that media has created? So I'll start. I really love the habitable zone on the geography of this world. That's probably one of my favorite details that's been added in.
All right. Hello, everyone. It is Kari. I am playing Murin, the not water genasi, the Triton artificer. And my favorite part about the world is these cosmic shifts that twist the magic in the different ways that it does. I think that's probably the coolest thing.
Usually go after Jeremy. I think he was supposed to be next in the order. Now it's me. I am Riley. I will be playing Gus, or August West. My favorite thing, Kari went first, but is the astronomy of this universe so far. The way the belief in the different gods, the different things change it and fluctuate it, and how it's always in that point of flux it's a really cool dynamic for the world, and I've liked it a lot so far.
Hello, everyone. I am Pharaoh. I will be playing Bilania Lamakir, What? I don't know, I heard something. I'll be playing her, and she's a elf with problems. That might as well be her class problem. What is my favorite thing about the setting? I am going to go with... I like this zone that we're coming towards right now with this sort of like dual continent structure, kind of like this vertical archipelago situation, and the different sort of cultures that inhabit different parts of it. I think that it's very fun, and I look forward to exploring it.
And howdy, everybody at home. I am Media Flare. I'm going to be operating as your Dungeon Master, Game Master, Story Keeper. I do want to shoot back at the party a real quick question. What is everyone's favorite color?
Ooh, and is this in
Like
character
in
or out of
character?
character?
Yeah.
I guess whichever answer you feel like delivering.
Ooh. I'll go in real life. I'll give you both. For myself, a sunset orange, like that russet sunset orange, right as the sun is like cresting over mountains, is my favorite color.
Nice.
But for Kellum, I think it is that kind of neon violet that you get as you get like that last fading of the night sky right over the horizon, right before it kind of goes into that shade of black that's night.
Very cool.
Tough question for me and for Gus, because I'm colorblind, or mostly colorblind. But Gus wasn't always blind. I think his favorite color would probably be something, some sort of like a a darker forest green, like an earth tone, something in that realm, on that spectrum.
Okay.
I think it's a difficult one. For me, I like too many colors, and I feel like Weirin is someone who has essentially like two favorites. Hers is like a marigold, golden, orange, yellow, like that cusp between. You're not sure if you want to call it a gold or you want to call it like a yellow orange. It's just right there. Really vibrant, really happy, a very sunny color. And then cyan is her other favorite. So she likes those two about equal.
Okay.
I would say mine is like a dark turquoise. Like kind of on a tint scale, like somewhere close to where like a dark emerald would be, just skew that towards blue. Bill's, I feel like is kind of like some sort of vibrant scarlet red, like a very cool, very vibrant red.
Red. Okay. All right, thank you for that. So, to recap what had happened the previous session to the audience, let's change the tone a little bit. We are currently kind of just relaxing, flying throughout the twilight belt of this planet. It is not the most graceful flight right now for the first few days due to the fact that the air elementals are a bit aggressive right now, and whoever is piloting is going to have to be fighting that along the way. The group had just finished disembarking from one flying ship with a band of rogues and claiming their hand-me-down ship, what looks like a brand new ship straight from New Craigopolis, a damselfly with its reflective mithril hull and its beautiful stained glass bug eyes. It is a very agile ship and does not have the capacity to land on water, but can land either vertically or horizontally in pretty much anywhere its legs can fit, which is convenient, so long as you strap down your equipment. The group had a conversation on where they were going to go next and why. Eventually, it boiled down to the choices of heading to either New Craigopolis or heading to the combination lands of Larenthia and the Shadelands. The party turned west and started to head towards the Shadelands. It's going to be a few days travel, so we have a lot of downtime in between. And at least for the first 3 days, I would like some piloting checks due to the fact that the weather is not allowing you to fly with cruise control. There's probably a lot of dexterity saves and stuff like that happening, and people trying to hold down equipment. So not a lot of relaxing downtime to talk. But who wants to be flying on day 1?
I'll take day 2.
I
Pharaoh, do you want
think
day 1?
day 1 I probably have you sitting next to me while I'm showing you how to run this ship.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, Bill, go ahead and give me a piloting check.
Okay, I'm sure this will go well. My D&D Beyond is not loading. Our proficiency bonus is +3?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Then that is a 12.
A 12. All right. So the first day is off to a very rough start as Bill manages to keep the vehicle airborne, but the direction it chooses to fly is outside of their control. If anyone has a compass or the ability to discern north and south, it's a bit of a drunken S right now. After a few after like 12 hours of flying, is at least secured that throughout this day, Bill is going to keep it airborne. But it doesn't look like you're going to be gaining much direction in the way you want to go. So on the second day of flying, Bill had then passed off the helm to Kellum to try and steer for a little bit. If you would like to also give me a piloting check.
Sure. Would it be safe to assume that our good friend Elric would be assisting?
Elric is currently in one of the living areas of the ship, aka bunks, having some time with their wormling.
Okay.
Yeah, if I don't get advantage, you don't.
Well, I figured
Exactly.
I figured Elric was certain that they'd help with one of our successes. That is a 16 plus 3, 19.
All right. So learning from Bill's time behind the helm, Kellum manages to have a pretty decent grasp on things, and since time in service, they've likely had to continue flying during a shift without landing. They have fought with elemental creatures before. You do manage to travel in the direction you wish to head in, and a full 2 days worth of travel happens between these moments, and eventually the weather starts to calm down and the mist slowly starts to sink back into the ocean, and the winds start to become much more favorable, and the air elemental inside the power chamber resumes more of a dormant state. The next stretch of travel, although there would still need to be someone behind the helm flying, it won't be incredibly difficult. But this now gives opportunity to spend some time on the ship doing whatever you feel like you need to do, since you can't exactly get off at any point.
I mean, I figure we're taking shifts during each day, right? Because we can't pilot for like 24 hours straight. So if I don't know, I don't really care. Do you want to do the third roll, or do you want me to?
I was gonna say, why don't we do it together?
Sure.
Because
What is that?
after one day of like watching, I think that Kellum would understand there is still more to know, so would be trying to take more of an active route in assisting Bill to learn more tips and tricks about.
Well, and if the elemental is calming down, then while I will generally be traveling, in a safe, normal fashion, I might start showing him some, like, maneuvers, like, stuff that could be useful if we were to get in combat. Like, the maneuverability of it, turn radius, things
Yeah,
like
because
that.
it's a ship I've never flown, like a damsel flies, so.
Yeah. But only once, like, the elemental is
This is a
calm
barrel
enough.
roll.
Yeah, I'm not gonna barrel roll us into crashing, hopefully. Anyway. So I guess, is that advantage? What do you want me to do here?
Oh, while there are no weather conditions, anyone chasing you, or an air elemental trying to sabotage the ship, so long as someone is at the helm and flying in a straight line, there doesn't need to be a check. Well, you have to be proficient, of course, but you two are. So long as you two are willing to trade off, and the weather doesn't change, you should be fine.
Perfect.
Okay. Sounds good. So we've seen a lot of each other for the last few days.
Yeah, you could say more. We've seen more of each other than we have our entire lives, really.
Yeah.
So what does this button do over here? This one right here.
No, that. Okay, do not touch that. That is the exhaust pipes. We don't need to be. The system does not need to relinquish anything right now.
Well, so that's the exhaust pipe. Then what about this doohickey right here, the one that you pull? Is that a throttle?
Look, I have some, as I've told you, some experience piloting these things, and I am so willing to help. Do I know what every little thing on here is? No, I know the things that are relevant. If you want to explore the manual that your friend found, go do that.
Oh, well, I just figured that you would be a reservoir of knowledge about this ship. My bad. I thought perhaps you'd be able to enlighten me rather than me having to go through the book. But
I was on board of a Damselfly for 10 days, 7 years ago. That is the extent of my knowledge of it.
oh well, the manual is sounding better and better. I couldn't agree more.
There you go.
Well, I'll see you later.
Perhaps,
Just like back out of the cabin, just like,
perhaps you could send Elric. I need to step away from here too.
Of course. I don't mind getting him. And I think I'll make my way down the ship. I assume, is Moirin in that, like, central area?
She is, and she looks miserable. Like, she is doubled over the table. It looks like at some point she did detach her leg. Her leg is sitting sort of beside her in the chair, and she's just sort of, like, just holding the table after these days of tossing and turning. The leg looks a little beat up. She seems to have taken some, like, hard tumbles during some of this turbulence. And so she had taken it off intending to fix it. But right now she's feeling a little too miserable. Just the queasiness of flight. And now that it's like calming, she's just sort of sitting there and like waiting for the queasiness to pass.
Gus is in there too, actually, but he's rifling through whatever he can find in that space, drawers and things. You're not really sure what he's looking for, but he looks like he's trying to find something.
What are you looking for? You've been rummaging. And this is like mumbled, like from within, and like a vague waving of a hand.
He pulls out the pipe that he's one of his 2 possessions he's had since you've known him, and he goes, they gave me this when I left where I was last time, and I was hoping the people that had this ship before us had something I could put in it.
And there's a moment where you see her brain trying to process that sentence of, put in it? What do you mean?
Just the time he finds a pouch of some dried tobacco in the desk drawer. So he's excited. But well,
yeah. Do you need a light?
That would be the next mission, yeah. But
and then she just presses open her little multi-tool, and she just sort of extends her arm to you and goes, here, this one here, just hold it up. And she like has the little torch to light it for him, and then she clicks it all back in.
He takes a big draw of it and sits down. Doesn't quite exhale right away. He's kind of just holding it in his lungs. But when he does, the smoke exhales just a small draw this first time. The smoke exhales and it forms into the shape of a young man. Wearing armor, and he takes a knee, and then with that, the air in the room kind of makes the image fade and go away. Guska's just kind of sitting there still.
There is definitely just this confused look on her face, and she looks to you, Callum, and then to where the thing was, And there's a moment where she's definitely making it. Did you see?
Kellum, like, gives you that quiet nod, and, like, you can see that literally the only thing Kellum wants to say is, like, magic. And, like, instead, noticing before that you were rather uncomfortable, Kellum will kind of snap his fingers and prestidigitate, like, a cold brush of air. Like when you're in an airplane and you, like, have to get the nozzles to, like, calm yourself down. So he'll just kind of keep doing that and go, how is it, Gus? How's the smoke?
He takes another big draw and exhales, and kind of coughs a little because it's a little dry. But as he exhales, the smoke takes the shape of two people this time. He's kneeling. There's an older gentleman with a sword touching, and the image touches both of his shoulders with the sword. And just as the younger figure goes to stand up, the smoke dissipates again. It's a little dry. I don't know. It seems like it's been in there for a while.
Like, how long do you think it's been in there?
I don't know. It's dry. It's tobacco. It's better than anything I've smoked in a long time.
In the visions, is Gus recognizable, or is it more of like a silhouette?
It's more of it's not a really defined image. Definitely a similar but more filled out build. Like the profile is similar, but you could probably tell it was a younger version of him if you were paying real close attention. He's just a lot more emaciated now and a lot more not quite as straight.
So did you smoke tobacco before?
No, not really. Just kind of something I'm doing because there's not a lot I can do to help out right now.
Well, how about I don't know. You could tell a story. That could be something you could do.
Did you send Elric to take over piloting?
I haven't got there
Elric
yet.
is not
Okay.
proficient in air vehicles, which means they would have to make a skill check, and they are not here to do so.
What? I thought they.
They're not a pilot of airships, but they served on airships. So they've been crew, but they have not piloted.
They have land
Okay,
vehicle
I thought-
proficiencies.
Yeah.
Just land the ship and walk it.
Double check their character sheet while y'all are figuring things out.
Have a
Story.
yes.
What kind of story would you want to hear?
Well, I don't know. Do you have a story for? Well, before we all met you, do you have a story that you think we should know about you? You know, like something heroic, something daring, something. I can only assume we're going to travel with each other for a while. I just want to know a little bit more about you.
I spent a lot of time in some bad places. I didn't have much chance to be a hero. Kind of started out on that path once, but it didn't end up that way for me.
Why? And you hear this like weakly from still like in her arms. She's like
Why?
this.
With a
She's
girdle.
turned her head. Well, she's like turned her head toward you, but she's still like flat on the table.
Yeah. Don't upset powerful people. But I won't go into too many of the details. It's powerful people were upset, and they thought I was a problem, so they put me away.
Fuck 'em. That is out of character for her.
He takes another draw from his pipe, and the figure it forms this time is a beautiful young lady.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I know what it's like to make enemies of people that are well connected. You have my sympathy.
Yeah, well, I don't need sympathy. I just need to get as far away from that place as possible. So as long as this ship is moving, I'm here to help.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the name of this man? Just in the off chance that we bump into them.
He's long dead now.
Oh, that's convenient.
He was near death when he put me in. He's not around anymore. I don't think. As far as I would guess.
I see. Did you have any family outside?
No. Well, I never really did. Had some people I'd call a brother at one point, but not real family. Where did you've been after a ship? You were after stuff in the market. What were you? What brings you here? Why are you stuck with us?
Well, that's a bit of a convoluted story, depending on who you ask. But I might as well, in the efforts of good communication, my name is Kellum Brightstar. I'm one of the children of the Brightstar family. Formerly noble house. I was volunteered to assist in military endeavors, to not disappoint my family any further than I already had. And the Assyrian Reaver was the ship I was captain on. We were patrolling the skies, and we were put on a mission of sorts to escort a package that we were not allowed to open. And during the night, there were some allied ships that, had been patrolling the skies with us, and in the midst of the night, they opened fire on our ship. Myself and Elric were able to escape. I'm certain a few individuals got on the lifeboat and were able to escape as well. We didn't suspect an attack from people we trusted. And by the time I stumbled my way back to any semblance of order or society, there was a bounty already on my head.
On the subject of your buddy Elric there, does he have a dragon?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
It's a cute wee little drake thing.
People started yelling dragon. I heard something fly away from him.
It's only and she gives some dimensions of this little drake.
I hope she doesn't just hold their hands up like this.
It's
She does hold her hands, but she does make an effort to, as she looks at them, to say the actual dimensions as she's guessing them out. And of course, she does give a full physical description of this little drake. Black scales, the frills, and that it shoots lightning. She's fun and helpful.
At the mention of Elric, Cullen goes, "Oh, right," and heads to go find Elric. And then we'll bring Elric back to the front. And if Elric isn't comfortable, just keeping us on a steady path, I will man over and I'll be like, you can go. We've got this.
Yeah. So while Callum's doing that, I think at this point we've been flying straight enough for Muirin to feel safe again to reach out for her leg and pull that over to herself and start popping off some of the damaged panels to make sure that the internal workings of said leg are still fine. Which she was originally intending to do before she was just hit with that wave of just air sickness. She hasn't been on airships very much, and it's very different. So you hear like this little the plates, scattering and like clicking and such like that as she sort of goes at it with little tools.
You sounds like you're good with tools and equipment.
Oh, I work with a lot of what you call it? Well, medical equipment, frankly, is my specialty.
You're a doctor.
Aye, that's primarily what I was trained in. A pharmacist, I guess, really is what you call it. I majored in alchemy and artificing in school.
That's something I don't know much about.
I saw you found some armor.
Yeah, it was on the other ship. It feels pretty good. Is it how's it look?
It looks quite nice, actually. I could probably make it even better if you let me see it for a bit.
Yeah, I don't need to be wearing it. I only was because it's been such a long time.
At the very least, I can make it fit you better. But I can probably spruce it up just a titch.
Perfect. It's not going to be anything too technical for me to run.
Oh no.
Okay.
It's like I guess any magical item, you just attune to it and it'll do what it does. I'll tell you all about it once I figure out what I can do with it.
Absolutely. He goes back into one of the other chambers and finds some replacement clothes and starts the process of removing plate mail armor.
Fantastic. As he there's now this mound of metal on this table, both from her leg and from his armor. Mirren does seem in better spirits now that she has stuff to work on though. So she's like, ah yes. Give.
And well, that takes an hour of clothing change. So, Kellum, you were bringing Elric somewhere?
Yeah, so I would be bringing Elric back to the cockpit.
I was assuming if he was able to pilot, because I thought we were discussing that. But if that's not the case,
that's perfectly fine. Because Kellum can take over. And Kellum will kind of go, we can chat here if you'd like, or I know the others are back there having a nice chat about everything that happened before this.
I mean, it's just been a long morning. I thought perhaps I could rest some.
Be my guest. I can take over. I don't have a problem with that.
Keep us airborne.
I'll try my best. If you're going back to get some rest, I will pull out my spell book. The one that was at the auction. Could you put this in the magical bed that I identified the other day? I'm not entirely certain that someone can't scry on this yet.
Certainly, wizard. I shall take your spellbook and do nothing untoward with it, and put it precisely where you want it put. She will reach forward and take it.
There is a very serious look that Kellum gives that is like, I am entrusting you with something more valuable than anything else in this ship, including everyone here. I'm putting a lot of trust in this. This is very precious to me, so
I know, that is why I specifically pointed out the extent that you are trusting me.
I appreciate it. I'm not great
I just wanted
with...
you to be aware that we are both aware of this.
Yes. 13. No. To another question that I got DM'd. 13.
Okay.
But what do I want to? I will look at Bill for a moment, and as you're like, you have the book and you're like leaving to go to the cockpit, how long have you been flying ships, or been on ships in your life?
How long have I been on them? She turns and looks to you. Have you said how old you are?
Nope.
As an elf to an elf, can I vibe check and get a sense of how old he is? Is that something we can discern about each other?
That's a good question, honestly. Is like, how elfy is elfy? At what point are they like, ah, yes, that's someone who's been around for a few centuries?
Yeah.
Because, like, if
I
it
mean,
was
like,
humans, it would be
as
like
a
slang,
human,
right?
Yeah, it's a human I can get
I
a
would
general
presume it's
gist of
measured
their
like a
age.
tree, but instead of rings, it's the amount of bags under the eyes.
All that lack of sleep is catching up. I will say this. He is between 100 and 300. Off a quick glance.
A quick glance.
Definitely not so elfy that they never step on more than one blade of grass, like, as they are walking.
She looks
Still a fairly
you
young elf.
Yeah.
over, which does suggest what she was going to say. This will mark my second century in the area. And you, Captain, how long have you been encircled by these armies?
Not very long. A few years, perhaps.
A new career for you.
Well, it certainly wasn't the career I wanted. But I'm here now. And, you know, you can't stay in a wizard tower all you want.
Between your careers?
Well, apparently, creating magic spells isn't much of a career, to some people.
No, I should think that is a storied career in Laurentia, but perhaps not.
Well, you know, that's what happens when your family has a family business and they want you in it, and you don't want any part of it, is you need to find a way out and about, typically away from where they want you. Sometimes that's on an airship. And sometimes that's on a very, very far away wizard tower in the middle of the reaches where no one can find you or knows your name. But I don't see any wizard towers here, I'm afraid. So.
Not on the open seas.
But 2 centuries is a long time to be on an airship.
Well, it was not the same one. Sometimes they crash, ideally not when you are on them. And sometimes you are run off of a crew, sometimes there's a mutiny and the captain is thrown overboard, sometimes you serve another captain. These things change, there are many altering politics in the skies.
Have you noticed that it's cyclical?
Cyclical. I mean,
New crew, new people, new ship. Same story.
Callum, most of life is cyclical when you have watched enough of it. Your crew is new, and whether they die in war or they go home and retire and die there, you have a new crew again.
Doesn't it get boring?
What would you rather do? Sit in some tower? As though that is less boring.
I mean, I suppose to each their own, but I mean, for me, I could alter the tower, I could create a demi-plane, I could create all sorts of new magic. If I wanted a party, I could summon some fae, or, summon... Well, I wouldn't, but I could summon some devils or something.
So you would prefer to sit alone and craft things with your magic, and when you need company, you will exert your control over them? You will not be with people who choose to be with you?
I mean, they can choose to stay and hang out, but what is the point in wasted effort in getting to know someone only to lose them in, what, the blink of an eye?
What is the point of having friends, of having family, of experiencing life? What is the point of feeling alive?
I just... It doesn't make sense to me. Is all I'm saying. I mean, you could have plenty of friends, plenty of, longer-lived friends. Then you wouldn't have to change a ship as often. You wouldn't have to get to know more people.
How old are you?
Old enough.
That is what children say. Is it
Well, I
not?
can assure you I'm not a child.
No, I can see that, but this fresh perspective you have and these questions asking me what it is worth, if there is something to be gained from interpersonal relations, from having friends, from having suitors, from experiencing life. These are the questions of someone who has not lived. So let me say it's like this for you, Callum Brightstar of the famous Bright Stars, no? Did you grow up in some tower with no friends, no one down below?
I had plenty of friends, for what it mattered.
Sure, and yet you are asking me what it is like to lose them.
I am asking you, what is the point in going in a cycle that doesn't stop and doing the same thing over and over? Pirating
Perhaps there is
or
no
being
point.
on a ship can't be that much fun.
When you breathe air amongst others, when you drink, when you buck, when you fly, when you learn, when you talk, when you shout, all of these things are the building blocks of life. They are your... When you die, what do you want people to say about you? Oh, that was one smart man, I hardly knew him? Or do you want to be remembered?
Well, it sounds like me, if you'll pardon me, that, the only one who's going to outlive almost any, non-elf or non-fae, is us. So we're the ones remembering. And I intend to live a very long time.
I'm certain you do. You may come
And-
to regret that, but...
Well, I beg to differ.
You have not gotten to the other side, how would you know?
Well, perhaps I don't. But I have a very long time to consider my options and to adjust my opinions. If we don't crash the ship. And then I will,
I will
turn to the controls.
Well, perhaps we could find excitement somewhere else. Now, where were those exhaust pipes? And I will walk off, holding your spellbook, saying that.
There is a threatening look thrown your way.
The back of my head eats it.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. I would really not want to get petty in a cockpit of a moving vehicle.
Oh,
wait, we have calm emotions.
Callum, do you hear yourself? You sound excited. I haven't had this much emotion from you yet. Good luck.
There is a sour look. Just like straight face goes right back to looking out the cockpit, just like, I'm gonna just drive the ship.
By this time, Gus, you would have been able to fully doff your armor, back into some plain street clothes.
Exactly. Tinkering sounds. There's some muttering as she's like picking up pieces and inspecting, I guess, the make of this mithril and how durable it is, and sometimes tapping on the metal to hear the sort of resonance it has to determine like how tempered it is and the nature of it and what it can withstand. She's just, having her fun with it.
What sort of things can you do with this?
So, well, primarily I can strengthen it and make it better than it is. There's some others that I've heard about that I can't quite do quite yet, but I could do in the future, like the near future. There's a neat technique I heard about making an armor that's like a strength suit that would keep you from getting knocked down every so often. Like if someone tries to push you over, the armor can help keep you up, and such like that. And it can help you lift things and do things that require feats of strength because it reinforces your muscles.
That sounds useful. I do tend to get knocked down.
Really interesting. I haven't really delved into it too deeply, but I have heard of it. And if that was, helpful, I could certainly look into getting more seriously into exactly how I'd do it. So I can't quite do it quite now, but I could make this stronger right now. And
Absolutely.
I think that's probably what we should do. So, and she sort of gets to work and she starts on the inside of the plates. She like starts etching these like arcane symbols, and she's like muttering to herself as she puts this all together. And she's going to use infuse item, and it's going to be essentially enhanced armor that would turn this into a +1 mithril armor for you.
Moving on up.
Exactly. So I can turn any armor into a +1 armor. It's one of the lovely things that I can do.
All right.
You guys are over by the cots.
Yeah, we're at the table. She's got like her leg plus his armor strewn all over the table, with pieces and parts.
Bill will kind of slink her way into the room, toss a spell book over to the correct cot that it is supposed to be on, and then go and just kind of lay down on someone's cot that isn't her own because her cot is not large enough for her to lay on.
Right.
So someone medium-sized, uninhabited cot, she's just gonna drape herself upon.
I think at this point it's Wherein and Gus have, I think, the other two medium-sized cots. It's Elric, her, and Gus have the actual medium-sized cots because the two elves just sit on the small ones because they don't need to sleep.
she feels like resting her legs, so she's been sitting for far too long. It's been like 60 hours of sitting in one place or another. So she's just gonna go kind of drape herself down and roll her head to the side and look over and kind of watch what you guys are getting yourself up to.
So as she finishes pieces, she sits them over and goes, "This is the done side." So you can start getting suited back up.
Yeah. Start the process over again.
Exactly. Each of the pieces now glow very lightly. It seems with a bit of it seems like a blue-green sort of color, like a seafoam color of magic. That does seem to go away once the entire suit is on you, but you can tell that like this is now certainly a magical suit of armor. And you do see that there are some parts that she's sort of like eyeing you has made fit better or fit more comfortably, and the plates move better against one another.
Before Gus puts any of the pieces on, he does kind of run his fingers over it, trying to get an idea of what the etchings were, just to feel the textures.
Oh, it feels, if he's ever felt like arcane runes on magical objects before, it absolutely feels very similar. The actual pattern itself seems a little different, a little bit more watery and wave-like, so maybe this is particularly like the ceasefire dialect of essentially magical runes. But it seems very similar to ones that you might have felt before, so it's not super outlandish or anything.
This is quite the work. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Not only for this, but for your help back in the city too. We didn't
That's
approach you all with the best intentions. But
I guess, does anyone ever really have the best intentions at the time? I mean, Elric was quite nice, and he helped me the whole morning, so I mean, I really just felt like I should. And I haven't really stopped thinking like I should, so I guess I'm gonna keep doing it.
I thank you for being fair.
It should also be mentioned you are just about the sweetest creature I have ever seen in recent memory, so it comes to no, surprise that you are still well with us. But
She just
to
turns a bit
Gus's,
purple at that, going like,
to Gus's point, darling, it's alright. We did not approach you with the best intentions.
Hardly the first, I guess. I mean, it's definitely been worse. She remarks as she goes back to what she was initially doing. It doesn't elaborate further on that. Just, it's been worse.
Understandable. I mean, I am not the best at apologizing, so I will gladly take this moment to piggyback on Gus's apology. You said it wonderfully. I could say nothing better.
Really, I'd just be happy if we sort of avoided, I don't know, and she just pauses for a second. You know what, never mind. She just keeps going back to what she was doing. Are all airships like this?
No.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Many are larger, better equipped, better organized.
I don't know if that would make it better or worse, actually. Is the turbulence sort of the same on all of them, or do they all fly too differently to say that?
Well, part of that turbulence has been this change in the air. Beyond that, a part of it, however, is because of the class of vehicle we are on. These smaller sort of damsel flies, they go quite fast. They have a more rapid turn rate, yes. So in this turbulence, it is smaller, lighter, more buffeted around. It would not be so egregious, perhaps, on something like a space galleon. More of a category of vessel that myself and Captain Brightstar, I will shout so he can hear from the room, so he knows I'm talking about him. A ship
Petty.
that myself and Dee would be more accustomed to.
I see. I see. It's really pretty on the outside, but I'm not sure how much I like this lightweight thing. I'm used to everything having a little bit more weight, even when it's moving around.
Well, perhaps if we scrub all the records of the ship's origin, we could turn it, sell it for profit, and move on to a different class of vehicle.
Well, didn't he say it was his, like, by right? Like, he didn't steal it.
He said that. Did you believe him?
I mean, I don't know why he'd lie.
Well,
It is a new
I do not
Krigopolis,
think.
like,
I
vehicle, and
believe
it's, like,
it was
right off the mark.
Zay. It was LaRue, correct? Correct. All right. I'm just going to say I don't trust them whatsoever. So if they say it was all above board, I would still want to perhaps scrub it or do some.
Well, I mean, they told us that they stole the ring. That's really what I'm basing it off of. But they didn't exactly hide what they stole. And I figured if they stole this, they would have just admitted to it. Like they did the
Fair
ring.
enough. But I have survived this long by attempting to not inherit other people's grudges.
I don't know, would it look more suspicious if we scrapped it? Then people would know it was stolen. And you'd only be able to sell to certain people.
Well, we are going to the Shadelands. I happen to know those sorts of people.
I suppose if you think that's the right way to go about it. I don't exactly truck in stolen vehicles very often, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
And then she
Not
just
much-
pauses at that and just sort of like looks off for a second. And then just gets back to work.
not much experience here in the pirate department.
We haven't pirated anything yet.
Except this, if it was stolen.
Well, that was not us pirating it. You are not
Pirates
going to
who work
go
on the
around
transit-
and imply that you are a pirate when you have done nothing to earn that title.
I'm not saying that. I'm just wondering, does Piraten have the transitive property?
Absolutely not. You must place yourself on a crew and you must prove yourself, of which you have done none of.
I mean, we
Isn't this
Took a
technically
ship.
true?
Yes,
And we're on
but
a
this
ship.
is not a pirate crew.
but we took a
What
ship.
makes a pirate crew? Exactly.
Would you like me to show you?
Is a demonstration strictly necessary?
It's Pharaoh,
If
but
you would
bust
like
it
to
out
be
in
part
song.
of the crew.
Must fight urge to keep trolling Bill.
She is like ready to throw hands.
Weird is honestly quite curious about this. She is curious. What does make a pirate crew? What is the actual definition? And she is interested in this. So she is looking up at you as she's working on her own leg, going like, no, really, like,
I mean,
Does
it
it
can't be
require
that
physical
difficult to be a
demonstration?
pirate. What's involved?
I mean, piracy, to break it down, is acts of robbery, criminal violence. Not everyone is cut out for it, and,
So
It
when we
relies on intelligence, it relies on proper maneuveration in the air, it relies on trusting the people that you are serving with. Trusting in the vision.
so when
And there's a
we
look.
when we took the ship, but with violence, that
No, we were
wasn't
given
piracy.
the ship. We were given this ship. It was not piratory.
And we
But
did
we did
establish
steal
that
the other
there-
one.
Yeah, the other one before this ship. Yeah, that's
No
It
offense,
was
Guy. No offense.
reappropriated from these eco-terrorists.
but we took it.
Yeah, but we did not keep it. We did not
we-
even really take it. We fought some people and allowed some actual pirates to take the ship,
But it was
which
their ship.
they did.
But we were engaged in an act of piracy.
No.
Is it though?
Your intention. What did you come away with? You did not come away with that ship. You did not come away with any loot from
Isn't that
there.
more
You came away with what was handed
No,
to
no.
you
We
by
did.
the actual pirate crews that succeeded.
So,
This
so
whole
you're
time Gus is
telling
just
me
pointing
that
to his armor.
requirements. You're telling me the requirements are strictly you have to
You
take
must
something against people's
Take
will.
something against someone's will. Yes.
Okay, so like negotiations aren't
No.
part of that.
I mean, we
Okay.
definitely did take
That
Gus.
is just
we-
goodwill.
we took-
That is just being friendly.
We took
The
Guy
pirates can be
kind
friendly.
of against their will, at least to the ship.
Is that an act of piracy or is that an act of kidnapping?
I mean, can't
not
they be
sure.
the same,
Ah.
really?
Well, yes.
True,
it can be,
piratical
actually.
kidnapping, I suppose. As
On
opposed to regular
technicality, I will allow that Callum Brightstar, who kidnapped this man guy, you are a pirate. No one else here.
You know, just a point of order. I rescued someone who was being magically manipulated into being potentially somewhere they weren't supposed to be.
I mean, when we are trying to
with the intent
excuse
to
our
put them
acts
where
of
they need to be.
piracy, we can come up with whatever explanation we want.
What I did was selfless. Stealing from others is selfish.
I also consider reappropriation of funds that are better used by myself and those that I care about to be an act of selflessness.
I have a question
There
I'd
were-
love to ask, since Kellum is apparently now in the back of the ship
I was wondering what the
talking with
countdown was
everybody.
for.
Who is flying the ship?
Me.
You're
I
they're
thought
in the
we were
back and you're
shouting.
chatting with them. You had to have
I thought
walked
we were
away from the
shouting
helm.
across.
I thought we were
Yeah,
shouting.
they're shouting.
Like, that's what I was doing.
They're shouting down into the helm from the little.
'Cause we're-
So they are up
Because
the
it's
stairs at the little
compartmentalized.
table.
Compartmentalized. Like,
We're like no more than 30 feet away from each other, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're up a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Technically speaking.
I'll allow it to avoid conflict.
Oh.
As far as I'm aware, we are up a flight of stairs away from Kellum, and therefore shouting could potentially be heard. I just want to confirm.
I mean, that's
I
why I
just
was
don't know.
waiting for when, to like input when Bill started getting upset because I figured their voice was raising to the point of like, yep, that's a point I would hear. It's like that is not piracy.
Anyway.
Now that we're all
That just-
pirates,
Suppose. I guess it's in a weird little gray area for right now, as she affixes the panels back to her leg, and there's some brief thump 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 of metal snapping back into place.
this place we're going, you know it?
No, not at all. I think Bill does.
Being a pirate and all.
Sure. That's why. We'll go with that.
You think we'll be able to lay low there or be noticed? Are we just gonna be drawing more attention to ourselves?
Into Shadelands, as long as you can keep your head down, I should be able to help us land somewhere where not cause too many problems. I know some folks.
Been a little bit of a hectic run since I rejoined the world. I'm just feels good to have a couple days here downtime, even though we've been tossed around. But we just gotta make sure they don't know where we're going.
So this third day comes to a close. We have gone through 3 days of rations so far on the trip to the Shadelands. Who is flying first tomorrow?
Gus gives his try.
Okay, I'll do it again.
I don't know. This Gus idea has some potential.
16.
What's happening?
Oh, did you not want the a piloting roll?
Oh, I never asked for anything.
Okay, sorry.
I guess Bill is flying the ship.
Yeah, I said
for the first.
I said that I would.
All right, so Bill is flying for the first half of the day today. Is there anything that Kellum is doing of import in the back?
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna suck, probably. But, yeah, there is. So, Kellum is sitting on the cot. I would say, if anyone is around, Kellum is staring intently at the staff and the spellbook that are sitting on the magical cot. That is kind of like tucked in the corner of it. Because I think that's one of the... Was that one of the longer cots or one of the shorter ones?
Yeah, it was for medium size.
Okay. Yeah, so trying to keep it out of the way of whoever's sleeping there, but just keeping the magical effects there. And he'll approach Moirin and Gus. So, does anyone know anything about scrying or the like? I know, in practice I know about it, but I've never done it, before myself. However...
I guess, does Moyden know anything more than, I guess, the basics of what scrying is?
You can give me an Arcana check if you want.
Sure. Why not? Let's do it. Ooh, that is a 25.
Okay, so let me pull up the scrying spell. So some things that you do know is it is a type of divination magic. It requires a decent amount of time to cast, and it requires some sort of expensive focus, like a crystal ball, a silver mirror, a font filled with holy water, etc. And depending on how familiar a person is with their target versus what type of connection they have to the thing they're trying to scry, the power varies. But essentially, it's a way to track people, temporarily see through their eyes to find out where they are, trace thoughts, etc.
All right. Well, I know it requires some fairly expensive foci, like a silver mirror or a holy font or a crystal ball, usually to get best results. and you need to know your subject, at least to some extent, to be able to see best. And also to have some sort of connection to them, either through memory or physically have something of theirs that can also help. Uh, my professor used it sometimes to look in on people, but not really often. It's kind of rude. It is divination, and it's primarily used to see where people are or see what they're doing, because you sort of like see through their eyes to a certain extent. Um, and of course, there are things that can block it. Lead's a good one. Um, cheap one too. Uh, then of course you've got the things like what's on the cot over there, the non-detection that helps protect against it, and there are charms and such with that on it. But I guess why?
Well, shortly after retrieving the staff, I cast a spell to identify any effects currently on it, and a scrying spell was among one of the things that was shown, from what I recall.
Specifically scrying.
Immediate, was that correct?
Hmm?
That scrying was on the ebon staff?
And specifically this spell, like scrying,
Yeah.
like someone was currently, I guess, looking at it?
With your knowledge, it would be that it is a permanent fixed point for a scrying spell, so that people don't need to be familiar with the target. They just go, that staff we programmed, and then they can scry it.
Exactly, of their familiarity with the object itself makes it scryable. Gotcha, cool. Okay.
I'm going to try and remove that.
I guess you might risk damaging the staff as it is, depending on how tightly that enchantment's woven into it. But it should be possible, I think.
Gus, do you have any knowledge on any of this?
Magic's never really been my thing. I don't know much about it.
Best I could do is I could maybe make you a new staff at some point if you ruin this one.
Well, that would be very unfortunate if I did ruin this staff. Well, unfortunate for me. Probably not unfortunate for the rest of you, but unfortunate for me.
I mean, it does look very lovely. Like, it looks like a very nice piece, but
yes,
I guess
and
that's really the risk we're dealing with here.
And it didn't always have that spell on it.
Oh, so it's new.
Yes.
Enchantment. Oh, okay. That might be easier to remove then.
Do you think someone's using this staff to follow us, to know where we are?
Well,
maybe not
with it on the cot, probably
specifically.
not.
But they're certainly tracking the staff. I mean, if I understand the magic itself properly, when you put a scry like that on an object, it's like a focus, it's like a cheat. So when you go to look into your crystal ball or your mirror or whatever, you go, hey, I want to see that staff, I put that enchantment on, and it immediately focuses your sight there.
So let's throw it overboard, then they can't track us.
Oh, they can't do it when it's on the cot there either. So you see and she points to like the magical runes and like shows, it's got like these runes along the side of this cot here, and it's got a non-detection spell on whatever's in the cot. So he's put the staff in the cot so they can't see the staff. Got it?
That's all above my head in magic, but
It's basically like we put a little bag over their eyes. They can look for the staff, but all they'll see is black.
as long as that cot is protecting us, I guess we're fine.
Mm-hmm. And that's why he's trying to get rid of it, so we can take it off the cot.
Exactly. I guess I will move over towards the cot and kind of like pull over. I don't know if I tucked it in. Probably not. Just like untuck it.
I'm gonna say that the person sleeping in that cot probably also didn't tuck it in.
Fair. and I'll kind of give it a once over. With my arcane studies, would I suspect that if for instance, like Dispel Magic was cast on it with the goal of removing the current active spell effect, that it would potentially damage the item itself?
Give me an Arcana check.
Sure. 15 plus 7, 22.
Okay. There's Dispel Magic. Okay. Well, since it wasn't part of the initial magic items crafting, if you do successfully remove the enchantment, it should not destroy the item. But if you do fail to dispel it, you get the feeling that it would be made aware on the other end of the connection.
Okay. I think Kellum takes a moment and kind of processes that information. And there is this almost impulsive look for the briefest of seconds where, he kind of pulls out, his wand, and then he pauses, and there is a visible kind of like gulp and like kind of like he kind of goes a little bit more pale, and then kind of just tucks the wand back away, and then just kind of takes a step back. For Gus, you hear a set of footsteps going forward, then a set of footsteps going back.
What's going on in your head there, Kellum?
It's nothing. Just I don't want whoever cast that or tampered with it to know that I know that they're watching. I think I need to prepare more.
If you're hiding it from them, if they go to scry and they can't find it, aren't they going to be aware that we're messing with it anyway?
I guess they're aware that someone's messing with it, but depending on how strong the connection is, they might actually be able to feel who's on the other end of the casting of the spell, you see. So when a scryway is open and they're looking, if you sort of step into that, they'd see you trying to disrupt the flow. If I guess you understand. If you understand, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So, like, for instance, if I went over there and disrupted it or tried to dispel it, which unfortunately I can't, like, I'd offer if I could, but I really can't, then they'd see me as the person trying to mess with their magic. Which I suppose we might be able to do at some point, but something for another time. But that's the thing. So, if Kellum's really invested in this person, not knowing it's him, perhaps we find another way of getting whatever that is off of that. As she points to the staff.
Of course, and the real problem is we don't know who put it on there. We know that the staff and the spellbook were sent as a way to, potentially capture myself and Elric. But we don't know who put it there. Could be any wizard or any spellcaster capable of doing it. And they may not be our enemy. We don't know. But we have to assume the worst. And if the worst is I fail to do it, at least this time, and it requires more attempts, I don't want them to know and suspect, especially if, for instance, if there is someone scrying and they could cast a spell on anything they see, I don't know if they could potentially cast a spell from a long distance. As long as they can see someone.
Do you suspect that the people who put this spell on staff already know you have it?
Well, I only really had it in my possession for a short bit before we got onto the ship. So unless they were looking at that exact time, or someone alerted them, I don't believe they
could
would.
know we're on the ship already.
Potentially. But they wouldn't know where we're headed. And the first thing I did when we got on the ship was identifying the cot and throwing it on there. So any discussions we've had since is safe.
That's good.
Speaking of safe, Bill, can you give me a perception check on the bridge?
Uh-huh. Love that. Okay, okay. 12 plus 7, 19.
19. So, Bill, it's been a very clear sky today, and you have been using the large crystal towers that power the train that wraps around the Twilight Belt as a bit of a navigational beacon to head back to one of its starting points, which is Larenthia and the Shadelands. And something crosses your eye. One of the crystals is much larger than the other and a bit misshapen. And as you look and try and gauge what is going on with it, where is my note? There it is. There it is. Okay. As you notice, part of this crystal breaks away and changes its shape. And as its wings spread out and the amethyst glow of the being comes into view, you realize that you have just entered into the hunting grounds of an amethyst dragon. And it is flying right towards you.
I start to scream.
And as Bill screams...
Bill!
That is where...
Oh, mad!
We will take an early end this week so that the ship can be fully manned during a dragon attack. But I wanted to leave you all with an audio cliffhanger as well.
Oh.
Delightful.
I like it.
I am so panicked! The minute that song changed, I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
Whatever
Oh,
we
no.
have done, we've goofed.
Bonus points to Buren for getting my armor upgraded.
You're welcome. Also, great job me for doing my elixir rolls, because that is what has been happening, is each day I have prepared my experimental elixir and I'm recording which ones they were. I believe I have 3 because it's been 3 days and I can only make 1 a day. So I have 2 more healing potions, everyone. And a potion of +1 AC. So we got those.
Fantastic.
Oh gosh, I am so stressed.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
we were
excited.
having such a
Go to our
nice
happy
powwow
outro
time.
music.
I've
But-
run an amethyst dragon, but I've never fought one. I'm excited.
I know. This might be the first gem dragon I've ever fought. But, you know, we're at that time of the week, a little bit earlier, but nonetheless, we are here, where we have to say goodbye to all our wonderful viewers. So thank you all of you for voting in the poll. Thank you all for panicking in my DMs while we were chatting and saying, "Are you going to fight?" But thank you, first and foremost, for being our friend and for being here. It wouldn't be the same without all of you and all of the cast, and it is an absolute pleasure from literally the bottom of my heart to come here week after week and get to tell stories with all these wonderful people. My name is Graham, and I had the pleasure of playing Captain Kellen Brightstar, your disaster wizard. And, you know, you can find me on Twitter at GrahamCrackers1, or you can find me here every week on Tuesdays and Fridays. Every other Tuesday, I DM Shards of Anarian and Anarian's Rest at 7:30 Eastern Standard for Anarian's Rest, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard for Shards of Anarian. Next week, we are resuming Shards of Anarian, where the party are in a brand new version of the material plane, and they are maybe meeting a brand new familiar face. That's a weird sentence to say, but it makes sense contextually. But besides me, I'd love to know, 3 things from these wonderful friends, and that is, who are they, where can we find them, and what projects can we support? Whether it is through retweeting, whether it is through charity drives, whether it is through just showing up and saying, I'm going to spam that heart emoji in the chat. So, without further ado, take it away.
Hello, everyone. It is I, Kari. I played Wherein today. Thank you all for joining us, as you often do. You can find me here every Friday, kicking it with these folks. You can also find me on Guild Wars 2 every once in a while. My player name there is going to be down in the chat. Hang out with me, say hi, do whatever. It's a great game. You should play it. In other news, I am also here roughly every other week for the Anarian's Rest campaign, where I visit as a guest star as Karis, the Tiefling Wizard, who is currently missing a leg, but she's gonna fix that at some point. Don't worry. Do my characters have an unfortunate habit of losing their limbs? Yes. Is this a problem yet? Perhaps no. It's fine, I'm sure. Until next time. What else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to ask them what to do when they're raiding? Like hearts? I like hearts. So if we go raiding, I want you to spam hearts in the chat, because everybody needs more hearts.
I'm Riley. I played the Blind Ranger Gus. Blind Paladin, not Ranger. That's...
dangerous.
You can't find me anywhere on the internet except for right here on Graham Crackers on Friday night. Spam whatever emoji you want to spam. Freedom to the emojis.
Hey guys, I am Pharaoh. I played Bill. You can catch me here on the upcoming Tuesday for Shards of Anarian, where I play Sindra Starmain, who is very angry and is about to meet the new version of her dead friend. So, not something she wants to happen. Kind of sucks. Just a lot of suckage all around. But hey, last time she crit smited her god, so that was fun. Otherwise, all my projects are off the air, and good lord, there are so many of them, I don't think I can fit another thing into my week. So, I don't require any direct support, but just good vibes. And I shall send it off down the line to the lovely media.
Well, that's me. Hello, everybody. My name is Media Flare. A bit of a voice actor and streamer. I've been on a bit of a hiatus because the VA does not do good healthcare, and so I'm recovering a lot slower than I expected. But you can find me here on Fridays. I have my own Twitch. It'll eventually have content, and my fancy will be updated soon as well. Otherwise, I'm getting ready to work on a new Sunday project that's gonna be really cool, so look forward to some teasers to that pretty soon. And I think my favorite emojis are like little like swords and shields, because you're raiding, like I have a little custom potato emoji with a sword. Here it goes. But that's me.
I am in love with that emoji. It is so cute.
I'm obsessed with potatoes, so of course my first emojis on Twitch were going to be potatoes.
I absolutely respect that decision. That is phenomenal. Just a little sword. Oh my gosh.
The little sword and shield on like this. I don't know.
The little
Sorry, what
heart
am I
potato.
thinking of?
Oh my heart.
It reminds me of poutine in like the best
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
It's like potato poutine.
Machine's just a potato.
It's true.
It is a potato-shaped cat, so.
So I wasn't sure who Pusheen is, but I know what poutine is, and that's the potato.
That's potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, poutine is this really cute cat that you see everywhere, but it does look like a potato. So.
We are going to raid Ouija, so spam him with hearts, or with potatoes, or potatoes with hearts. Because Ouija is a really good guy. He does a lot of charity drives for a lot of children's charities. So, give him some love. He's playing some Destiny right now. Just say some hearts and say keep up the good work. Because, they put in a lot of time and effort into making the world a better place. So we should definitely support that. But until next time, as always, it's goodbye for now, not forever. We'll see you soon. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Stay happy, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Get ready to raid!